Sylvester Stallone is a name that echoes through cinema like a battle cry. His characters, Rocky Balboa and John Rambo, became global symbols of endurance, grit, and unbreakable will. For nearly 5 decades, he represented the ultimate underdog, the man who absorbs punishment yet refuses to fall. But behind the muscles, fame, and billion-dollar franchises lies a story far more painful than any screenplay. His life was not built on smooth triumph, but on rejection, humiliation, loss, and grief so profound it reshaped him. This is the story of how hardship forged Hollywood's most enduring fighter. Born into struggle, Stallone's first battle began at birth. On July 6, 1946, in New York City, complications during delivery forced doctors to use forceps. The procedure severed a nerve, leaving the lower left side of his face partially paralyzed. His lip drooped, his speech slurred, and his expression would forever appear uneven. What others saw as a flaw became a lifelong obstacle. From his earliest days, he was marked as different. The physical damage could not be undone. It shaped his voice, his confidence, and how the world perceived him. Before he ever stepped into a boxing ring on screen, he was already fighting. A chaotic childhood. His parents, Frank Stallone Sr. and Jackie Stallone, shared a turbulent marriage filled with volatility. Their home was unstable, loud, and often hostile. Compassion was scarce. Young Sylvester grew up feeling unwanted and misunderstood. When his parents divorced, he was shuffled between relatives and schools, never finding steady ground. The emotional neglect cut deep. Teachers mistook his slurred speech for lack of intelligence. Classmates mocked him relentlessly. The insecurity hardened into anger. By adolescence, he had been expelled from multiple schools, not because he lacked ability, but because he fought back. Each insult built the defiance that would later define him: isolation and despair. At 16, Stallone was sent to a school in Switzerland. Isolated in a foreign country, separated from familiarity, he sank into depression. He later admitted he felt invisible and hopeless, even contemplating ending his life. The loneliness was suffocating. Yet something inside him refused to surrender. Whether it was stubbornness or survival instinct, he held on. That fragile resilience became the foundation of his future. He returned to the United States without direction or credentials, but with a dream that sounded impossible even to him. He wanted to become an actor. For a young man with a slurred voice and a paralyzed face, Hollywood seemed unreachable. Rock bottom in New York. Arriving in New York with little money, Stallone faced relentless rejection. Casting directors dismissed him instantly. "You talk funny. Your face doesn't work." The humiliation was constant. To survive, he cleaned lion cages at the Central Park Zoo and slept at the Port Authority bus station. Hunger became routine. In desperation, he sold his beloved dog, Bootkus, for $50 because he could not afford to feed him. It was one of the most painful decisions of his life. Rock bottom was not dramatic. It was cold, quiet, and relentless. Yet even there, he clung to the belief that his story was not finished. Inspiration strikes. In 1975, Stallone watched a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. Wepner, an underdog few believed in, went the distance against Ali. Though he lost, his endurance captured Stallone's imagination. He saw himself in that struggle. Inspired, Stallone locked himself away and wrote a screenplay in just 3 days. It told the story of a small-time boxer given one improbable shot at greatness. He called it Rocky. Every page carried his pain, rejection, and longing for recognition. The script was more than fiction. It was autobiography in disguise. The impossible refusal Hollywood quickly recognized the script's potential. Studios offered increasing sums of money, enough to erase his poverty overnight. But there was one condition: he could not star in it. Executives wanted established actors like Ryan O'Neal or Burt Reynolds. Stallone refused. Despite being broke, he turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars because he believed only he could play Rocky authentically. Friends called him foolish. His wife urged him to accept the deal. Still, he stood firm. Finally, the studio agreed to cast him, though with a modest salary and tight budget. He had gambled everything on himself. A cultural explosion. When Rocky premiered in 1976, expectations were modest. Instead, it became a phenomenon, earning over $225 million worldwide and winning the Academy Award for Best Picture. Stallone received nominations for Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay. The once dismissed dreamer stood at the Oscars, transformed into a star. Audiences connected with Rocky's vulnerability and perseverance. They saw their own struggles reflected back at them. Overnight, Stallone became the embodiment of hope. The underdog story he lived had become the underdog story the world needed. The golden era success multiplied. Sequels followed: Rocky II, Rocky III, and Rocky IV, each expanding the legend. In 1982, he introduced another icon with First Blood, launching the Rambo franchise. During the 1980s, Stallone was among the highest-paid actors in the world. His films grossed hundreds of millions. He became a global action symbol, commanding enormous salaries and international admiration. Mansions, cars, magazine covers, he had achieved what once seemed impossible. Yet, even at the peak, the industry's loyalty was fragile. The fall from grace. The 1990s proved unforgiving. Tastes shifted, and Stallone's style felt outdated. Films like Stop or My Mum Will Shoot and Judge Dredd underperformed critically and commercially. Mockery replaced praise. His salary dropped. Studios hesitated. The same industry that crowned him now questioned his relevance. Financial strain followed, compounded by costly divorces and investments. Interviews from that era reveal visible doubt. He wondered if Hollywood had permanently closed its doors. Yet beneath the disappointment, the stubborn resilience that once refused to sell, Rocky remained alive. Personal tragedy. In 2012, tragedy struck when his eldest son, Sage Stallone, died at 36. The loss devastated him. Fame offered no shield against grief. Stallone withdrew from public view, carrying a pain no father expects to endure. He later described losing a child as a wound that never heals, only something one learns to carry. The heartbreak reshaped him. When he later portrayed an aging, grieving Rocky in Creed, the emotion was painfully authentic. The performance earned him renewed acclaim and another Oscar nomination. Redemption and reinvention. With Creed, Stallone returned not as the unstoppable fighter, but as a mentor confronting mortality. The vulnerability resonated deeply. Decades after his first nomination, he stood again among Hollywood's elite. The comeback was not loud or boastful, it was dignified. He proved that reinvention is possible even after being written off. Later projects, including the television series Tulsa King, showed his ability to evolve with changing times. Age had not erased his relevance, it refined it. Legacy of endurance. Today, Stallone's legacy is measured not only in box office numbers, but in perseverance. From a birth injury that shaped his voice to poverty, rejection, superstardom, collapse, and unimaginable grief, he endured it all. His estimated fortune reflects success, but his true wealth lies in resilience. He has supported charitable initiatives and opportunities, for underprivileged youth, remembering the boy who once felt invisible. Sylvester Stallone's life is not merely the story of a movie star. It is the story of a man who refused to quit, when mocked, when broke, when grieving, when forgotten. Rocky Balboa may be fictional, but the spirit behind him is real. And that spirit reminds us that the greatest victory is not fame or fortune. It is standing back up, again and again, no matter how hard life hits.